welcome in Maize and Blue Review, middle of June. And we're ready to talk Michigan football. Along with Jim Scarcelli, I'm Dennis FIthian. Thanks for joining us. There he is on the screen, Jim Scarcelli, ready to go in a Maize and Blue shirt. What else would he be in? He's raring to go. Scar, good to see you. What's going on?
Fired up, man. Counting it down. We're around the corner, man. It's we're getting to football weather. Football August is here, close, and we got recruits going on. We picked up a 5-star long snapper, Denny. I think it's so important. You don't realize it so much when you're just playing, but when you coach, you realize the importance of your long snapper. And when you have a real good one and he graduates. And then you got like an average one. It changes a lot of stuff you want to do with the punt team. Sometimes you have to bring in extra protection. Maybe you can't cover. You can't bring out gunners. You know, it changes a lot of what you do, depending on how good your long snapper is.
I'll buy that. I think that, for me, just in general, you don't want to know the long snapper's name, because the only time you'd really go, if he hikes it over somebody's head or, he's having trouble like that. I think about Alabama, and it wasn't an actual long snapper, and he was just snapping it back to the quarterback. Remember, he was having a tough time being able to get the ball back to him. So center, that's one of the positions, long snapper, they're probably worth their weight in gold, but you really don't want to know their names.
Well, that's why I always try to point it out when I'm looking at film with us. When we do our film throughout the year, I always try to give that guy love. When he has good snaps, because you don't want to, it's an important position, and you don't want to just, ignore the guy because, But anyway, it was interesting to see it. I never seen that kind of a ranking for a long snapper, a 5-star long snapper. And but yeah, he's the kid's name is Colton Demur, and it's interesting. He's got a .66 snap to the punter, so they probably go 12 yards deep. And he runs a 4.9 340. So the reason the 40 time is important, Denny, because you ask these guys to cover punts too. They might not be the best tacklers, but you do want a long snapper that can be a part of the punt coverage team. You know what I mean? If you got a guy that's a good snapper, but he's can't run, that's going to affect how highly he's recruited. So they had his time in there. Which was interesting, and why I understand the importance of that.
Long snapper talk right off the bat. I like it. And I've got Greg Tarr down as Michigan's long snapper heading into this season. We'll see if that plays out, if he ends up being the first string long snapper. Well, basketball, every week, you think the roster's like, wow, man, things are looking great. Dusty May, nice job. A week goes by, he adds another player. That's kind of the same thing. That's the way it's been going. Dusty May has been getting it done even here in the month of June. Scar, the last couple of weeks, have been putting on the tape of the spring game, and we've been watching individual players, and it has been loads of fun being able to do that. He is ready to do that again today, which is exciting. But you already mentioned it, recruiting, Scar. This was a big recruiting weekend, and there was no bigger player across the board that Michigan wants, that Michigan fans want, and he was making the rounds in Ann Arbor this week, Savion Hyder, the running back out of Virginia. And the word is coming out of the official visit weekend that things went well, that Michigan feels good. And that's good that they feel good. You better feel good. You got a guy in for a visit, and he likes Texas, and he likes Ohio State, and he likes Tennessee and everything. So they feel good about Hyder. How do you feel?
Hey, man, Michigan has a lot to sell there. We've got a good position coach. He's coached a lot of great players, Tony. And, we run the damn football. We come out with tight ends and fullbacks, and we run stuff that correlates to the pro game. So, you listen, we're not, I've said this many times. We might not always recruit the best receivers because we run the ball a lot more than other people, but we sure as hell should be right there with every best running back in the country. You want to run the damn football, you're going to get experience doing it at Michigan in a pro style offense. So, Yeah, we got a lot to sell there, and that'd be great to snatch him, man. He's sitting there with the coach, and hopefully we get some good news.
I agree with you. You laid it out perfectly. You know, Michigan, you see over the past couple of years if it was a wide receiver or whatever, but you're bringing in a running back and you're sitting him down. You just put all the cards out on the table. You basically say, look, everything here is you want. Nobody's bringing anything. Nobody's going over the top on any NIL, any school atmosphere. I mean, Michigan just has it all. So at this point, I mean, Heider, best of luck to him. He goes to all the place he feels most comfortable. But, Michigan, you would think has as good a chance as and maybe better than any of these schools that are after him. So.
Yeah, Virginia Tech is kind of average now. Virginia's below average. So, you go in there, you could steal a kid, get a kid from out of state. And, we got a lot to sell there, man. So got the right coach, got the right position coach, got the right system.
I'll just highlight a couple guys. Kenneth Goodwin's a linebacker. I think he was in this weekend. He's from California, 4-star linebacker. And one of our recruiting analysts at the Maize and Blue Review, Adam Sen, heading into the weekend, liked their position so much, Michigan, that he put a forecast in for them. So we'll see if that ends up holding true with Kenneth Goodwin. But he's 6'2", 205, linebacker. I mean, we're talking probably about inside linebacker here, not an edge, right?
Yeah, that would be an inside kid. Probably a fast kid, not the biggest kid. To go into California, some guys want to get away. I don't know if he has a connection to Michigan, but, you have success with a Mason Graham from California, and you have success with those kind of guys. Some guys just want to leave, man. So, yeah, that'd be great, man.
I said forecast. I should have said future cast. Forecast is what I put in when I'm thinking about a recruit coming in. Future cast is what Rivals puts in. Duan Forkpa. Let's go. Here's another linebacker. He's a little bigger. And physically, man, I'm looking at the arm. This guy's got bigger arms than you right now, Scar. You got, pretty big arms. I mean, you're out there working out. 6'2", 235, and he is all of that. He's a brick house IMG. And it's Adam Gorney, who's one of the national guys for Rivals, who just put up a story in this morning, and he indicated, I was reading it, that, quote, Michigan is the team to beat for Forkpa.
Oh, that's great. Well, our system we got Junior Colson, win high. We got guys that go, man. So we've got a pretty good track record with linebackers. Our system is good. We put guys in the NFL, and this kid IMG. I mean, I don't know where he's from. He could be from anywhere going to IMG. He could be from, I don't know. He could be from wherever, Texas. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he looks great, and we like to have our system likes to have sometimes a big, thicker kid and also a faster guy with what our system is. So, IMG gets guys ready, man. They that's a great competition. JJ went to IMG. A lot of great players have gone to IMG.
No doubt. And Ripstar, who was just last week, we see him on the live. He was saying, what's up with Michigan and recruiting linebackers? Well, here you go, Ripstar. You got Goodwin and you got Forkpa. They say when you find that fork paw in the road, you take it. And hopefully Michigan is able to do that. So we're going through some of these. This is a safety who visited this weekend out of Virginia, and his name is Andre Clark Jr. He is a 4-star, and I saw that Josh Henschke was very high on Michigan's chances coming out of the weekend with AC Jr. So I think it's a name to remember if you're a Michigan fan.
Yeah, I actually looked at his film. This kid's a really, really athletic, tough, physical kid. And again, another Virginia kid. Sometimes, Denny, you do great when other programs are down. You can go into a state you might not be able to recruit as well. but neither of them programs are doing great things. So we go in there and steal them. And yeah, and Shadyville talking about our system. You're right, man. You got a lot of people running the wink system in the NFL. They're running it in San Diego. They're running it in Baltimore. So there's that system is there's guys that want to there's pro guys that want to just plug a guy in, and having played for a wink is got to really help you out if you could deal with that guy. NFL coaches will want that. So that we got a lot to sell guys in a lot of different ways to come to Michigan as a linebacker, safety, anything on defense.
Yeah, the safeties like Baltimore and the defense that they run, and they also, I remember Mason Graham a couple months ago mentioning Kyle Hamilton and how they like how he's used in the John Harbaugh Ravens defense, and that won't be lost on a kid from Virginia and somebody like Andre Clark, no doubt. Yeah. There you go. Let's see. Is there any more? There is. Travis Johnson, 6'4", 4-star wide receiver. He is also out of, let's say it again, Virginia. So all of these Virginia kids were in. Maybe they're like, we're all headed west. But Travis Johnson, I will put in the same category as Andre Clark Jr. That was Josh Henschke who was writing about him this morning, or was it late last night? Either way, bullish on Michigan's chances, feeling great about Michigan's chances on landing this big wide receiver out of Virginia. And there he is wearing the coveted 1 jersey.
Yeah, Dave, I looked at his film too. This kid's a hell of an athlete. Tall. He looks like, Sharon Moore wants tall guys. He wants taller receivers. You want the tall ones that are also fast, man. They can block and are tough. So, yeah, this would be great. Looks like Bellamy's there recruiting them. And they gave him number 1. They must want him, man.
Yeah, you don't let him dress up. This is
you don't put that number 1 on anybody.
You're not cosplaying a number 1 if you're coming in for a visit. It doesn't matter. You better you got to earn that. Even
I played with the original number 1 that really put that number on the back for the Wolverine on the map for the Wolverines. Guy by the name of Anthony Carter, greatest athlete I ever seen. So yeah,
give us your first impressions when you were there and you saw Anthony Carter. You were like, did you know that you
freak receiver, man, freak athlete, not the tallest guy, great team guy, humble guy, return punts, catch anything. Just he played at a time when we didn't throw the ball much, man. But he was a definite factor in the football game. They tried to get it to him in a lot of different ways, but there wasn't as many ways to get the guy like that the football back then. They become more creative. But anyway, Danny, great player. Could have played in the NFL a long time, and great teammate.
I love Carter. He's my favorite athlete in football and in any other sport. Number 1 all time, Anthony Carter. Now, Anthony Carter, for those that aren't old enough, maybe it was just the bowl game. I'm not 100% sure. That's why I'm going to ask you. He would wear a jersey where if you grabbed it, it ripped away. Like you could just pull it off of him. Like it tore away. And I think
at that time, Danny, those were allowed. Tearaway jerseys. They had a few years where that was allowed. There was a legal deal. They were like little paper mache type jerseys because they whatever. But I don't know. They got rid of it because a lot of teams couldn't afford 6-8 jerseys for a player. They didn't think it was fair to be able to tackle a guy grabbing his jersey. So some coach somehow somewhere said, "Let's have a tearaway jersey." Yeah, and Anthony probably had one of those.
Is Braylon Edwards the last real number 1 that we had?
I'm trying to think. We had that number was. There's been a lot of different philosophies, what the coaches were going to do with that number, who got the number. I don't know. I think Jim seemed to give it to just about anybody. It looks like Sharon is giving it to anybody. We got guys on defense that wear it. Braylon was great with it, man.
Braylon was. Andrew Anthony, for a second,
Yeah.
he had that big touchdown against Michigan State in 2021, but I'm trying to think of the number ones between Braylon and you might be right about that. Sometimes you can identify recruiting dudes that are just on top of everything. And I'm just going to mention, I'm just looking over here through some of the messages. And when we're live, we like taking messages from people. You can just tell Justin is into recruiting. I mean, he's into Michigan. Here he is, Go Blue. We were talking about Hyder, and he's like, I heard his agent flew in. And he's like, Hyder's agent came in on Thursday last week to talk numbers before his client showed up on campus. That actually lines up with something that I was reading on the Maize and Blue Review today. So maybe
it's just interesting how Justin's right on top of everything. It's just interesting how a player is referred to as a client. Just interesting. But that's what it is, man.
That's where we're at right now. I don't like this bit of news.
I hope that's not true. I wonder what's going on with Sadler, Justin. But yes, I really like Sadler. I've watched him play. I've watched him play in person from Cass Tech. I don't know.
The people,
great player, man. Denny, I wanted to talk about this. I know you covered him last week. This Alistar Valero kid. Yeah, I looked at his film. I took a good look at his film. Some people talked about him looking like a Mason Graham. Mason Graham was really, really not the greatest athlete, but really, really well coached and always played with great technique. I watched Mason Graham play many games in high school. His league was on. They had it on over here in Michigan, whatever, because it was a good league he was in. Servite he played. Anyway, I watched him play many times, and I was really from day one impressed with Mason Graham as a technician. Great technique and great ability to use hands, come off blocks. Pad level was outstanding from day one. Come off blocks, play double team. I mean, he did that in high school. Now this kid he's got a ways to go. He's got to work on his technique. But they're similar athletes. The thing about Mason Graham, he reminds me, Denny, of a guy I played with, Mike Hammerstein.
Oh,
Mike Hammerstein was not winning any 40-yard dash ever, and he was not winning any weight room competitions from a bench press standpoint. But he had a quick first step, real quick first step or two, and that's inside defensive line play, and that's what Mason Graham. You're right. Mason Graham had a wrestling background. He played with leverage. Anyway, I've heard comparisons with that. This kid has a long way to go with technique, but Espo will get him squared away because I see what Espo's doing with some of our young defensive linemen, what he's doing with Poly, and already Kanka. We'll look at the film. Kanka's impressing me. But this, we've got the commitment from Alistar, got a long way to go from a technique standpoint. Could be, but I don't know that it's fair right away to start throwing Mason Graham type stuff out.
No, it's not fair.
Yeah. Anyway, another guy I looked at, Denny, that has an offer from Michigan, I looked at his film, is Luis Esposito. Luis Esposito is Coach Esposito's kid. Okay, and he has an offer from Michigan. He's a 27 kid. He's a big offensive tackle, defensive tackle, 6'5" kid out of Saline, Michigan. So I looked at his film. This kid he's a good-looking athlete. It's no charity case, man. It's no, hey, your dad coaches here, here's a scholarship. No, the kid can play. He's a big, tough, athletic, mean kid. I liked his feet. And I saw some toughness, and I could see where he's recruited, man. So Denny, back in my day, the coaches, they lived in that closer to Ann Arbor. Their kids went to Pioneer High School. Harbaugh went to Pioneer High School. Andy Moeller went to Pioneer High School. A lot of the coaches' kids went to Pioneer High School, and now it just seemed like the last 20 some years or so. Sheridan's kid went to Saline. A lot of guys went to Saline. Carr's nephew, Saline. So anyway, Saline is now what 1980, late 70s Ann Arbor Pioneer was. Saline is where the coaches' kids go. So anyway, this Esposito can play. This was the first big offer he had, and it's not a gift. I think the kid can play.
Yep, good point on Saline. I remember when Brady Hoke was the defensive line coach at Michigan. I was invited over to his house to watch some football on a Saturday by his beautiful wife, and we went over there, and it wasn't Saline. Big party. Couple local media members and some cops down in Brady Hoke's basement watching football. Great guy.
Yeah, Cass Tech's quarterback is up for a visit. Donald Tabron. He's a good young quarterback. He's on the radar. He's not Bryce Underwood, but he's a good player. He's started for Cass, I think, as a freshman, which isn't easy to do. So he's up for a visit. So this is a big time for recruiting, man.
Not many Bryce Underwoods running around. Let's before we get to the film, we got to go quickly. Remind everyone that over at the Mesa Blue Review, you want to be like Justin and others who are right up to speed with recruiting. You join up the Mesa Blue Review, and that's how you get it done. You know what's going on, point by point, all the time, accurate, a lot of fun, and you do it by going to michigan.rivals.com. We'll see you over there. We would love to see you over there. Pictured is Dusty May, and over the weekend, you find out that Michigan gets a 7-foot German, Malik Cordell, and he's 21 years old, and he'll be part of this freshman class. So that gives Michigan I don't want to say a Fab Five, but they give a 5 freshmen that will be coming in on this team to join LJ Quesan, Damari Burnett, Roddy Gale, and Cheddar. Those are the only 4 coming back. The other 9, you got 5 then freshmen coming in, and then you get also a couple transfers, one from Illinois, one from UCLA. Of course, also Yaxel Lindenborg, he's coming in, and Elliot Cadeau is the point guard from Carolina. It's a very nice, long, and tall, a lot of length and a lot of depth with this roster that Dusty May has put together.
Yeah, Denny, we've got something going on in Germany. You've got to believe that Dusty said, "Hey, Franz, can you call this kid and talk German to him?" Or, "Hey, Mo Wagner, can you call this kid for us?" Believe me, those things happen, man. Denny, when I was getting recruited, Gerald Ford called me. You were allowed back then to have alumni, call players, and they've really restricted some of that stuff. But anyway, we've got a good thing going with German, and this kid's a 7-foot kid, hopefully not in a hurry to play. But when you've got guys like Vlad and Danny Wolf who play for Dusty, and again, I think our players are some of our best recruiters, man, for our program right now in both football and basketball.
Yeah, wingspan's not everything, and I don't know what Cordell's, but he's listed as a 7-footer, so I'll just say that his wingspan is 7 feet. Morris Johnson Jr., he's got a 7'4" wingspan. I mean, he's listed at 6'9", but so 7'4", he could easily play center. The actual Andy Mara, who's coming in, he's 7'2". He's got a 7'6" wingspan, and then Yaxel's got a 7'4" wingspan. These guys cross the front line. The coach, they tell you, put your hands up. Just put those guys out there. And actually, I'm looking at it here. Morris Johnson, a 7'2" wingspan. I think I said 7'4". Incredible pterodactyls on the front line there at the Chrysler Center.
Yeah, Danny, recruiting is like the greatest predictor of the momentum and faith and confidence in your program, man. The way we're recruiting, in basketball, in football, it's going to, there's faith. The recruits are feeling it. They come meet Dusty and the coaches and our players. There's a lot of confidence there, man. A lot of momentum.
I like to hear it. All right, so then we're ready now to look at some film. And we are going to use Scar uses Quick Cut Video and Analytics, your place to store, share, and analyze film. It's Quick Cut, QWIKCUT, and you can be just like Scar. And no, you can't play football at Michigan, but you can break down the film like Scar.
All right, you up here, Dan? You got the film up?
Yeah, it's there. We're watching it. We're watching.
You know, here's Bryce Underwood under center. You know, I bet you can count it on one hand how many times he went under center at Belleville High School. I don't think they went under center much at all at Belleville High School. So this is going to be, he's going to have to continue to get work on this. But, you know, he fumbles the football here. But I really like 54 and 99 again. 82 is, you got to show, so he's showing some punch here. I like 54, punching, coming off it. I like 99, punching, no movement, true freshman. You know, you talk about Mason Graham. This kid is really improved, this 99. Watch him punch. Split a double team, not get knocked off the ball. And 23, all this kid does is make plays. And here, anyway, we got to secure he's got to learn, you know, you got to take snaps, man.
99 is Big Bobby Kanka from Howell. Scar, for the novices out there. So, all right, Underwood has, you know, taken shotgun for the majority of time when he was in high school, that we're presuming. I would say you agree, and he'd probably do that if he was starting from game one. What are the advantages of going under center? Is it comfort for the quarterback?
Well, there's certain plays that are better under center. There's advantages to being under center. There's advantages to, we don't do a lot of the stuff that gives you the advantage under center, but there are some things that are advantages.
Like an end around?
Well, it's seeing, maybe communicating, the line hears you better. Some of your inside run stuff where linemen are getting there quicker. There's some of your inside runs. We don't run a lot of trap, and there's certain stuff that is better under center. Okay, they got him in a single back set behind the quarterback. But yeah, Danny, there's advantages and disadvantages for both. Shotgun, pistol. The pistol has advantages and disadvantages. You know, the quarterback is right behind the center.
Yep.
And the back is right behind the quarterback. There's advantages and disadvantages to that. I don't know why this guy's so far off the ball. Here's 2nd and 15.
It's tipping it.
You know, I keep beating that up. That's 71, show and pass. Not very good protection. But this is the stuff that, you know, we kind of got a little taste. But again, the defense is they're going to have a whistle blown here, so they're not going to tackle them. But this is the stuff that we hope is going to set Underwood apart, is when the protection break down, that he can really, really show some athleticism, you know, and run. Because we really didn't get that with Davis Warren. We got it with JJ, and we got spoiled, you know.
Right. He might have gone for 8 yards here. Nice.
Yeah, but again, Danny, we don't know because the whistle's getting blown.
No, you're right. It looks like he could have just dove ahead for 8 yards.
The whistle probably got blown, you know, right about here. The whistle was probably blown because they don't want the $10 million kid getting hit. And these guys, you know, they don't want to get yelled at for touching the franchise. So
not during the spring game.
No, it ain't going to happen. So anyway, here's Wink running a lot of zone, 3rd and 15. It's what we do. You know, this is how we beat the Buckeyes. Ton of zone, man. I don't like this throw off the back. You know, the technique is not good. He gets a little pressure. Danny, is this 52 up here? I think that's Bennett. But anyway, I don't like Underwood's feet, technique, throwing off the back leg. Shall we step, you know? The receiver could have come underneath. I don't know. It's not really, they're not on the same page communication-wise. All right, what do I got here? I got these guys circled. Oh, this is the long snapper. You know what I figured, you know, let me take a look at the long snapper. The stat was 0.66 was how fast the guy we have committed snaps the football. So imagine it's 12 yards for a punter is how they got that 0.66.
Let me put the timer on him.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to look at his snaps, and then you can look at the other guy with the yellow team, the maize team. But you see it's a decent snap, and then you want guys that can cover.
1-1, too slow.
Well, let's take a look. Snap. And now let's see what kind of athlete he is. Can he cover? Because you don't want to be, it makes a difference. So that was him. Babalua here, getting better. I can see why he was recruited. He handles this inside move by the edge player, which is not always easy to do. Pins him in. Davis got to get outside. I just thought this was an easy pass. He should have. I'm going to just say this, Denny. Jaden Davis is not going to make plays with his feet. I told you, I said this. He's got to be like Cade McNamara. If you want to play, you got to be highly intelligent and deadly accurate. Because if you're not making plays with your feet, what are you giving the offense? You follow me?
Yeah.
So anyway, he's got to make these passes. He's got to complete this stuff.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go.
Yeah, but you got to start showing it. These guys wide open.
You preaching to the choir there. I mean, I'm just trying to be nice.
I'm just saying, when you don't run well, you have to bring something else to the table.
Yeah, when you don't run well, you don't throw really well either. I mean, he's got a combination he's going to work on.
Well, this is it. How much, what do I have him circled for? 2nd and 10. He's people covered, step up. Can he make something happen with his legs? Can he give us something? 3rd and 11. Thought there was good protection here, handling some stunts. Babalua's in there. This is a pretty darn good ball. It's right there on his fingertips. There's hardly any separation, but this is what he has to do. Receiver might have to lay out. Maybe he didn't want to lay out for a spring game, but
look, if I'm a Jaden Davis fan or Jaden Davis truther, or if I'm just a Michigan football fan, you'd say that was the best throw of either quarterback of the day.
Yeah, because there's like zero separation, hardly any separation, and the ball is just on his fingertips. Lay out, make the play, but it's really a difficult throw because there's no that, and that's what he has to do because there's no separation there. So your receiver doesn't help you much.
No.
Well, now let's look at this long snapper. I don't know if people are excited about looking at long snappers, but
you get the timer on him.
He's a little slower though. Look at the difference, Denny. How this ball is kind of floating back there. See how it's floating a little bit?
1.3, too much.
Yeah, this stuff matters, man. I mean, you talk about punt. I mean, listen, we lost that game to Michigan State about 10 years ago, but that was a punter that dropped the damn football. You remember that one?
No, I don't remember that one.
Where Jim had him beat when we were punting it and Michigan State beat us?
Don't recall. Nope. Don't recall it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. 2015 probably.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good snap. It was actually probably maybe too much for the kid to handle. Terrible. The punter dropped it. I don't have lot many more plays, just a little bit. What do I got here? I got 99 circled. I think our offense is screwed up here, Danny. These are mental mistakes. I think they're blocking 2 different plays here. These guys are pulling like they're running a power play, but the play side is running like it's a zone play. See, if you're going to pull these guys here, if you're going to pull the who's pulling? Play side guard? Oh, that's the center pulling? Center. Okay, the center's pulling. So if you're going to pull the center to kick out and the backside tight end to then lead through, these two guys would probably be blocking down. These dudes should be blocking down, but they're not. They're blocking like it's a zone. So the offense is screwed up. You've got two guys doing one thing, two guys doing another thing, and it's confusing. It's confusion. You got no game. Anyway, Kanka, again, I'm watching 99 here. Takes on, with inside control, this guard, stuffs him. Now, this is a Mason Graham type play. Stuffs him and comes off of it. That's pretty good. I like this this cornerback down here. Danny, this is people don't understand this. And there's a couple drills I did that were like the whole defense did them. Got it from Brady Hoke, called Steer the Car. Greatest defensive drill ever in the history of coaching defense. I got it from Brady Hoke, working the camp. It's called Steer the Car. You take on blocks. You teach guys to come and use their hands. Anyway, use your hands and come off a block. But watch this kid here on the bottom, this guy right here. I love his technique. Punching, driving him back. He gets driven off initially, but then ends up driving him back, and he's using his hands, and he comes off the block. See how he comes driving him back and comes off the block to help out?
Tevis Metcalf.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good play. Anyway, that's it for today, Danny. Just a little taste.
Oh man, it was.
I didn't have too much, just a little.
It was
bit.
nice. No, it was nice. It's, I don't know. Sometimes
the focus today was punter, long snapper. Those little things matter. You want a guy that could snap it and zing it back there. Danny, I'm gonna tell you, I played with a couple guys that were really good centers, and I think are good long snappers, that it hurt them to compete for the center position because they were so valuable as long snappers. You follow me? Like this kid here, the hell's his name? Colton Demur. He's probably not going to do anything but snap the football. You know what I mean? Because they're so important. You don't want your long snapper getting his hand smashed up at blocking as an offensive lineman in practice. You follow me?
Yeah.
So I played with guys that I think it really hurt their chances to compete, as a position player, because they were such good long snappers.
Vitale, was that your center?
Vitale was a guy that was damn good. I mean, no, he wasn't a long snapper, but.
Oh, right.
There's a guy like Larry Sweeney was a pretty good player, and I think because he was a great long snapper, and I think it may have hurt my buddy Andy Borowski, who was a real good player, but he was a good long snapper too. You follow me? So then the coach has to decide, hey, I can't have, because I've been in that position as a coach where you have your long snapper, he's my starting tight end, he's my starting defensive end, and the trainer says, look, the kid just smashed his hand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's my long snapper. So, okay, now I guess you're going for it on fourth down, or you're putting the second string long snapper in there who's, hit and miss.
Well, I remember the Lions had Don Muehlbach for over a decade. He's a Pro Bowler, two-time Pro Bowler.
And you try to teach that, Danny. Some guys can just do it, man. Snapping the football with two hands, zinging it out there. It's not something that everybody can get a feel for that.
Well, it's easier now. Just a couple of years ago, they've made the rule where you can't line up over the.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for them. You can't. Well, it's been more than a couple of years. You can't smash.
More a couple of years. Okay.
Yeah, you cannot. You cannot smash the extra point punt protection guy.
Yeah, they're in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's been a good 20 years or so. But
has it been that long? Okay.
Anyway, it's hard. It's hard to teach that. So it's good that we got a guy committed. Bo never wanted to give a scholarship to some of those guys. He didn't want to waste the scholarship. Now you got 105 scholarships. You better have a damn long snapper.
We got Rip saying, great session. We got time for one question, and it's from Hadley, who wants to give a side note on the 2015 Michigan State game. The punter played 2 yards farther back than he should have. That's why he dropped the ball. You notice that he never played for Michigan again. I think that's what he was saying there.
Yeah, the kid just choked. It wasn't the, I was always wondering why Jim didn't bring in max protection. He had 2 gunners in the game. Why the hell would you have 2 gunners out there in that situation? I didn't understand that. But, it might have, the fact that they did get some pressure might have added to the guy's stress, why he may have dropped. I'm not trying to make an excuse for the guy, but I would have had max protection and just tell him to punt the damn thing out of bounds at the 5-yard line. And yeah, the kid just choked. He choked and dropped the ball, man. It was, and I was in a press box right there on that end zone. Sick. It was sick.
Sick the bad way, not sick.
Oh, terrible. I just felt so bad for Jim, man. He was trying to get our program going, and
I felt bad for everybody.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a terrible, and that kid, man. I mean, but you got to catch the damn ball and kick it out of bounds.
You got to keep going up. It's never over to the end there. So that
I mean, we win the damn game. He
20.
had to punt it. You think you want to go for the mathematics said you had to punt the damn football.
No, you weren't. I don't know. Dan Campbell probably would have gone for it.
No, I think what you put him in because we didn't want to give him a field goal.
No, I know. I just like saying
you had to punt the football there. But anyway, Danny, your special teams is so damn important, man. The punting that one phase, punting the football. There's so many things that can go bad. So many things. You better have you got to work on it, man. It's one thing I did as a coach. Bo taught me, we would warm up at Michigan. And the very first thing we did was punt protection, punt. We worked on punt every single day. It was that important. And I did the same damn thing as a coach. We warmed up, and then right away we punted the football. And because, then you get into everything else, your offense, defense. But you emphasize it. You let your players and your team know, hey, man, this play is important. You want your best football players. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to cover then and tackle. So you got to do, the 2 most important things in football, block and tackle. Anyway, it's an important play, man.
I'm all here. Scar, great job.
All right, man. Hey, Jerry and Scar are going to go every other Tuesday, 10:30.
10:30, starting this Tuesday?
No, starting next week. Next Tuesday. So
all right.
Yeah, me and Danny, you and I are going to go every other Monday, and Jerry and I are going to go every other Tuesday, 10:30 a.m.
Sounds great. Can't wait to see
All right, Danny, go blue, man.
There he is.